Hey everybody, it's Zach again this week, fifth time in a row. Yeah, we're doing it. Uh, so this should come out tonight, Wednesday night, because I'm actually doing it a little ahead of time. Nice. So today I'm just gonna go over what I've done a little bit. I decided to finish putting some purple on the rest of the skeletons, and I decided to put a couple other colors and experiment with one of my guys. So I'll show you that here in a second. All right, so this week, what I decided to do was I put the purple on the rest of these skeletons there. So that's a lot of base colors for their cloth. Even put it on the little horn here, right there on the horn, and then like the little bits of cloth hanging off there. So what I'd like to do with these guys next week is fill in their metal colors for their swords, and like a couple of these guys have little chest pieces. They've got little like breastplates here, and I'd like to get all that painted in. I'm going to be working with specifically the Legions of the Nagash book has a good guide here on rusted metal. That's what I'm going to be trying to do with their metal bits and bobs. I did attempt it, so this week I decided, instead of showing you little bits and pieces at a time, I'm going to try to at least get one completely painted every week. And this guy is 100% done, except for he does need a varnish. So I'm going to spray him with a matte varnish here. Not tonight, but sometime later. So we're talking base and everything. You can see his sword here. I tried to do that rust technique and I messed it up a little bit. But I'm not going to worry too much about it. Mostly because this is just a horn dude and I don't really care too much. One of the things I was really excited about doing with these guys is I found a place online that sells custom tufts, and they have these little black blighted flowers. So I've got just like their blighted grass, and then their blighted grass with flowers here on the base. I used to be big on painting the base black, but I think it looks a little bit better with like a little bit of a dry brushing on it, and some of the spillover for the goop I use makes it look a little bit more unique. But yeah, so I painted all the straps leathery. I painted his horn. I was trying to go for a brass look here, and I ended up using a Privateer Press color called Blighted Gold. I don't think it really turned out as well as I wanted it to. So afterwards, I looked up a brass technique online, and I'm going to use that next week. So next week, you'll probably see another one of these guys, probably the other horn guy, because there's just so much brass to paint, so that I get a good color on it. I see I must have missed his wristband, and I'll just hit that wristband with the brass I'm going to do next week. Or I might do it a gold color, have him like have a gold bangle. So I did the same rust technique I did on the sword on his little shin guard here, and that turned out pretty good. And then the little purpley cloth thing, I washed that with a purple wash, and then I highlighted it with a lighter purple. What is it? Gene Stealer Flesh, I think. Yeah, Gene Stealer Purple. I highlighted it with Gene Stealer Purple. And I tried to give the rims of these like a little brightness to it, so it looks like a little reflection. I'm not super great at OSL, but I think this guy turned out pretty good for just a shitty skeleton trooper, especially one with his head caved in. So I'm pretty happy with it. The only thing I'm not particularly happy with is the sword. It didn't turn out super great, but I'm not going to start from square one over just a little sword on this guy, so it's not a big deal. I decided what color I was going to go with for the cloth on these guys, and I also wanted to do the shields in that color. I'm actually going to do a rust effect around these little pock marks on the shields, but I decided to use the Sanguine base from Privateer because it's a nice maroon color, and I think it'll highlight up well, and it gives a good color comparison with that purple, and I think it looks nice. The main reason I was looking up that brass color is because these armor panels here, I'm going to paint that brass color, and the little chainmail, of course, I'm going to paint, regular chain colored. So I want to get all the handles in that brass as well, and I might do the emboss stuff and maybe the wings on his helmet, or maybe even the whole helmet in the brass color. So this guy has a flag, and I was thinking about doing the flag in purple, but I think I've got enough purple on the models already. And then I was thinking about maybe doing this color, but I think having the color of their clothing and the color of their flag match wouldn't be too great. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to paint the flag black, and all these little raised areas I'm going to paint gold, along with this like little fringe stuff on there. Or I might, instead of gold, I might do them yellow and wash them with the sepia to make them more of a golden yellow. And then I finally got some paint on the vampire with that same maroon color, and I think it turned out really well. I'm going to paint his visor the brass color. I should probably get some paint on his face. I can just take his head right out because it's pinned. So I'm probably going to get a little bit more paint on the helmet in that maroon. And then I'm going to paint the visor a brass color. And I'm going to paint his face more of a flesh color. But I think that color turned out really well for him. And I painted the wrists on both of his weapons here. The hands on both of his weapons. For the weapons, I think I might leave this kind of like gray airbrush color for the main color on this. I'm going to paint these little raised areas. You can't really see them too well, but I'm going to paint these little raised areas either a gold or that brass color. And then of course I'm going to paint this, I'm not going to paint it in the rusted iron. I'm actually going to paint it in a very like sharp steel color, because one would assume the vampires, being even dead aristocracy, they would want the best equipment. So those guys are going to get shiny weapons instead of the rusted out weapons. I did paint a little bit on this guy, and all it is I finished painting the seat black. So there's not a real lot to do about that. And I kind of have a gripe this week. Normally I really try to stay positive about pretty much everything. But so about a month ago I bought this Citadel Prax, however the hell you pronounce that, white, and I didn't shake it. Because it was a brand new bottle. I didn't expect what I got. I added water to this to see if I could get it to break up some, but look at this. It looks like cottage cheese in there. That is garbage. This paint pot is going in the garbage. I just kept it around to complain about it a little bit. I know Citadel's supposed to have problems with these pots, and I should transfer all my other pots to these things that I've been transferring other stuff to. But the problem with these things is, while they're nice, everything gets gummed up in here because it doesn't form a good seal on the little nipple. Like, you see, it never forms a good seal right here at the tip. So I don't really like using them a lot, but it's better than them drying out, I suppose. So we're gonna flip it back here, and then I guess I'll give you the end of the blog spiel, for fun. All right, so that's what I've worked on this week. This coming week, I really am going to try to stream some. I'm basically just going to tape a webcam to one of my lamps and have a top-down view. I'm not going to mess around with any sort of face view, mostly because if you really want to watch me do this the entire time I'm painting, you can just go back and take that photo and just put it on your background, put it on your screen background, watch me go. Because back when I streamed video games more often, I used to stream with a webcam, and it was not particularly interesting to watch my face, so I decided that I'm going to stream without a webcam. So this week I'm going to... Alright, so this week I'd like to stream almost all of what I paint. So I'm going to not put it in the comment on where I normally link my Twitter on. When I get some actual footage on Twitch, I will link my Twitch in a comment on this video. So we'll see if I can get some extra time on Twitch. Probably won't be super interesting. It'll probably be me listening to some music in the background. That'll probably get my Twitch muted. And just doing what I can. And probably stopping every hour or so, because the ADD gets me pretty bad sometimes. Alright, so I'll see you next week, or I'll see you on Twitch. If you come by my Twitch, say hey. And if you like what I'm doing, like it, share it, subscribe, whatever, comment. I like interacting with people. I'll see y'all next week.